Hello, welcome back to ITBS Media. We are starting a new series, and the series will focus on Google Sheets. So, Google Sheets tutorial day 1, and I think I will number it as Google Sheet 1. Then I'll put the focus on it, and the focus for today's particular introduction to Google Sheets, I will list them. So if you are new to Google Sheets or you have been using it without really understanding how it works, this video is for you. So like I said, today is day 1 of this tutorial series. And we're starting with the basics, the interface, cells, rows, and columns. By the end of this video, I expect you will understand exactly how data is organized in Google Sheets. So let's open Google Sheets. You see my screen here. Click on this button. You can see it says Google Apps. This is where Google Apps are stored. And of course, you have to sign up for an account with Google if you don't have a Google account. You can see the Gmail here for mail, and you see images, then you see this search labs and Google Apps. So you go to Google Apps and scroll down so you see Sheets. You can see it. This is Sheets. Click on it. When it opens, it will show you to give you the opportunity to start a new spreadsheet, and you have different templates. This is the templates gallery. If you click on it, you will have different templates. You may see the one that meets your need, or you may have to develop your own. So if you're doing maybe wedding planning, this for travel planner, schedule, then you have pros and cons, theme, roster. You're doing a roster, annual calendar. You want to develop a calendar, monthly budgets. So you see finance, Google Finance investments tracker. So you want to track your investments across different portfolios and use these templates. All right, enough of intro. Let's go into the business of today. So I'll click on blank spreadsheet, and you can see that it has loaded a blank spreadsheet for me. The next thing to do now is, let me close this. Then start with pre-built tables. That's if you need table, you can use that, but that's not my focus now. So the first thing I want to do is to walk you through the basic things that you need to know. And the first one is to show you the page, to walk you around the page. The first, here you see the place or the space where you can name your Google Sheets. Let's call this Google Sheets Lesson 1 Introduction. Okay, so we have named it. We have named this sheet, and you can see, if you see here, it says saved to drive. One beautiful thing about Google Sheets is that it automatically saves your work, so you don't have to panic. You won't lose your work as long as your device did not lose internet. So you're good to go, because it will continuously save your work as you're making updates to the spreadsheet. Okay, so the first line here that you see here: file, edit, view, insert, format, data, tools, extension, help. This line here, that first row, is called the menu bar. Menu bar, MENU. That's your menu, where you can select what actually you want to do. Inside each menu, you have different tools. Okay, you have different tools. So at the very top, I've shown you, you have the menu bar, and that's where you find the advanced options like importing data, formatting cells, and automation tools. So now let's move on to the next layer, which is called the toolbar. So the first one is menu bar, and the second one is toolbar. So what do you have in toolbar? You see, search the menu, undo, redo, print, paint formats, zoom, format as currency. This line down like this, that is your tools bar, because those are the tools you use on the spreadsheet. Okay, so that's the tools bar, and that's where you spend most of your time formatting text and changing colors, adding borders, inserting functions into your worksheet. So this area where you will work, that is your worksheet. Okay, that is your worksheet. And you can see that down here you have sheet 1. That's this entire page. That's your sheet 1. If you want to create another sheet, for example, you have a project and you have different things that you want to document, different records to store in your Google Sheet. But some of them need to be stored differently, but you want everything about the project in one document. So what you do is you create, this is sheet 1. You can right click on it, just right clicked on it and click rename. And once you click on rename, you see you can then change the name. So we can leave it as sheet 1, or let's change it just for a sake. Let's call it demo 1. Demo 1. So that's about that. So the next one is the formula bar. That's the one that show what's inside in the cell, and this is it right here. And you can see the sign of a formula here. So this side, this layer here, is the formula bar. So we're coming from the top. We have the name section where you name it, and then you have the menu bar. Then after the menu bar, you have the tools bar, and then you have the formula bar. So that's walking you through. Now we're going into the worksheet grid. This is the worksheet grid I've just shown you. That's the worksheet grid. Okay. So if you click at this extreme corner here, it will highlight everything. And if you want to remove the highlights, just click on anywhere in the worksheet. It will open for you and it will clear the highlights. So the large grid in the center is where all your data will be. So you can see all the grids here. But then this grid is made up of rows and columns. As you can see, the grid is made up of rows and columns. And let's look at each of these. What is a row? Row runs horizontally, goes like this. So a row holds a single record. A row holds a single record. What do I mean by a single record? For example, if you have 30 students in your class as a teacher, each student will hold one row. So if this is for John, if this first row is for John, that everything on that row is the record about John. It's not possible to put John's record there and put Ade's record there too. No, that singular row is for one person or for one entity. Okay, so this is your row, and the row is numbered numerically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As you can see, it goes down like that. Okay, so it's by default it's numbered up to 1,000, but there's still more rows at the bottom. If you want, you can decide to change the length of the row. Now I change it to, you can see, because I've added 2,000 to it. Now you have up to 3,000. You can see how you see how you can increase the rows. Don't forget, what we're talking about the rows is that they are numbered numerically. Now we go back to the columns. The columns are vertical, not horizontal. Remember that the rows are numbered and they spread horizontally, but the columns spread vertically, standing upright. Okay, you see, this is column A, this is column B, column C, and each column is numbered alphabetically. You can see A, B, C, D. And when you get to Z, you now have A1, A2, and things like that. You can see up to Z. Let's try and see. If I decide to add one more row and one more column, let me insert one column to the right. So you can see now that after I added a column to the right of Z, what we have now is AA. So that's how it is. And you can see this bar at the bottom with which you can move vertically to see what you have at the other end of each row. Now, another thing now that you need to know is your cell. Cell is that space at the intersection of row and column. So here, this space here is at the intersection of this and this, of 1 and A. So this cell is A1, cell A1. This cell is cell B1. This one right here is B2, and this one right here is C3. So see from up here. So, and you can see C3. Look at it right here. Once you click to a cell, it will show up here to show you what cell you have just clicked on. Look at this. This is G10. And here is D14. So you have seen what a cell is. A cell is the basic building block of the Google Sheets. And it's that point where row and column meets. As I've said, that is at the intersection of column and row. So, and in numbering each cell, the numbering follows the column first, then the row. So that's why you have D14 now and not 14D. But it is D14. Okay. So if you want to select a row, you click on it. I just click on it once. If you want to edit it, you double click it. You can see now that I have the cursor dipping inside it. I can then add, I can type and add whatever I want to add now. So that is about editing the cell. And if you want to move down a cell, you can press enter, and you can see once I press enter, it moves down it moves down that cell. Then if I want to move towards the right of that cell that is already highlighted or that is picked, I'll press the tab button on my keyboard. And you can see once I press the tab button, it moves to the right. Okay. And if I want to bring it back to the left, I can use my left arrow. The left arrow will bring it back. So these are some of the things that you need to know. And that is just a walkthrough. That's the first few things that you need to know, at least to be familiar with the space before you start working on the sheet, the Google Sheet. So if you don't know how to navigate around it, you won't be able to do the right thing, and it may even be difficult despite the fact that it's one of the simplest things to learn and use quickly. All right. So that's why I'm showing you this. The foundation matters. And if you have been using Excel, this is a version. This is exactly like Excel. And the beautiful thing is that once you have the account, once you have the Google account, you use it free. It stores your data for you immediately, and you can have access to it. You can import it to Excel spreadsheets. You can transfer from Excel spreadsheet to Google Sheet. So it's a very beautiful tool that you must know and start using. And what let's try and see one of the mistakes that beginners normally do is to leave blank row inside data or putting different data types in the same column. Let me advise you on that now. If you select this column and you decide it's going to be name, then everything you enter into this column must be name. You cannot put name and get to cell 5 and decide to put amount of money or amount of maybe pay or income there. No, you cannot say, oh, this is Ade. You put Ade here, and then you now start putting details about Ade down the same column. No, you put the name here, and you start putting you create these ones. For example, let's just do a quick example here. Let's say name or student name. So you can edit it up here where it shows. So student name, and for B, subject, and for C, test 1. For column D, test 2, and column E, total. So you have this now. Let's put Adi, Maya, James, Catherine, and Victor. Okay, so let me change it from subject to Google Sheets lesson. Google Sheets lesson. All right. So look at this. You can see Google Sheets. The lesson is not showing. So there is something that you can do here, and that's just put your cursor here. And once you see this sign, you see the arrow pointing left and right, you know it's in the right place, then you can pull towards the direction you want to show what is in there. All right, so this is the So I'll leave that one blank. Then let me assign a mark to these students. 32, 44. Just assign it arbitrarily. All right. So let's look at using summing this up. If you want to sum it up, you just do sum. You can see it's already asking what I want to sum. C2 and D2. You see, so that's exactly what I need to do. So that is there like that. Then what I've just done is, because I've put that formula there, and I just drag it down, and you have a summation here. So that is how simple it is to use Google Sheets. And in this very first lesson, I have shown you the basic things you need to know about the interface. But we can still go a little bit deeper. We will do that probably in the next lesson. So here you have the file. Let's just do a drop down of the file, the first menu there. So you can see all the tools that are in here that you can use. So we go into other ones later. So let me give you a challenge. Create your own Google Sheet and put data. Add 5 rows like I have done. Add 5 rows and insert a new column. Insert data in the new column. So that will be the one practice. So now you understand the Google Sheets layout, cells, rows, and columns, and basic data entry into Google Sheets. So I'll see you in lesson 2. Don't forget to like, join the channel, subscribe, and be part of this channel. Thank you.